Joining us, we have one of the most influential people in the conservative space, one of the best online commentators that is out there today. You can see him. Benny, the show is weekdays?
Yes.
Weekdays, what time?
11 a.m. Eastern
11
Standard Time, and then until who knows when.
Benny
right?
Johnson, everybody. Benny,
Joe
thank you so
Biden.
much for joining us today. Great to have
Yes.
you here. Your experience so far at AmFest. Were you here last year when Joe Biden was still president? And if so, what is the difference between a 2023 AmFest with Biden in power and a 2024 AmFest where we have a president-elect Donald Trump who's already making changes to the country?
Yeah. So I will say something that's very unpopular here, which is that I'm going to miss Joe Biden. The memes, dude, like the memes have been incredible. Him falling on his ass every couple of days, not being able to speak English, a lot of the like adult diaper content. It's been great. You know, it's been great for the memers. All right.
Yeah,
And it's been terrible for the country.
Oh,
terrible
awful,
for the country.
awful for the country.
Yeah.
But great
and
for the
quite
internet.
arguably the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Awful.
Right.
But
That's
for the memes on Facebook.
Great for the internet.
It was
So
fun.
we swagger jacked them, dude. Okay, so like Valiant Tatum is a great example of this. We swagger jacked these cowards who refuse to make fun of Joe Biden. Saturday Night Live, this should have been the golden era for Saturday Night Live. You finally have a president that does literally fall downstairs. That's what they did with Gerald Ford, right? Like you finally have a president that actually did do it, and they refuse to make fun of Joe Biden. They're total cowards. We've exposed the total cowards. Real comedians like Shane Gillis, real comedians that actually like do funny bits and sets, like they've blown up. Yeah, they've blown up, and real content creators have blown up, calling them out. So it's been kind of actually amazing. It's been a golden era for us. The corporate media is dying and or dead. And the difference between that year and this year is I believe that there is a spiritual energy that is right now pulsating through our movement. And the reason why is because everyone saw the single most viewed miracle in human history, which is President Trump missing a bullet. And you saw that, and I think that white-pilled and radicalized people in a way that we've never seen before. That's why you can go to the hood and pass out MAGA hats, and you'll be gone. They'll be gone in 10 minutes. We did this in Fulton County. It's why some of the biggest names and some of the smartest people and some of the most powerful people on earth are like saying, wait a second, there's something bigger going on here. And that moment alone has created a spiritual kinetic energy that drives the movement. You can feel it. It's electric. You look around, there's like right here, you know, watching, there's a great like feeling and vibe and energy. You guys feel that? And it's optimistic for the first time really in a long time. And it feels like a spell's been lifted from the country.
This is weird because you're 37 years old. I'm 38. So we grew up around the same time. The America that I live in now, and I mentioned this earlier, and it's a weird analogy to make, but right now feels like September 12th of 2001. The amount of united patriots that we have in this country that just want what's best for this country, where for the past 4 years, if you were deemed, I love this country, I'm patriotic, what's wrong with you, you bigot? You must hate trans people. And it's like, no, I just want what's best for this country, the future, because I have kids, you have kids. We want what's best for our children. And we had an administration that literally did what's worst for the children. You have Eric Adams coming out last week talking about 500,000 missing children coming from the border. All of a sudden, the Democratic Party is now acknowledging that, but that's been going on for the past 4 years with no acknowledgement whatsoever.
Rob, if I may.
Yeah.
My own take on this is a little different than yours, if you will allow me. I believe that actually what we're returning to is a different era that you and I both lived through, yet we were very, very young,
90s.
which is the 80s.
Okay, post-road.
Yo, have you seen the mullets out there? Have you looked at the amount of mustaches that you're seeing on young men right now?
We're so back.
The amount of dudes that want to just go surfing, right? and want to just let her rip and want to like lay down and start building something. The energy is incredible. Valuetainment's got it, right? Honestly, like built by entrepreneurs, built by people that believed in the American spirit.
No, you bring up a great point. Trump made mustaches great again. Biden had women with mustaches, and now Trump has men back with mustaches again.
You're countering it.
But it does feel like a great
mullets.
It feels like
mullets are coming back.
Great American resurgence is here, and you're starting to see it not just here but globally. You have 100 world leaders that have reached out to president-elect, not even in office yet, and the guy's already doing the job. Then he goes and says, hey, you know what? I'm going to forego the salary again for the next 4 years. Meanwhile, you look at the other administration, and you have Joe Biden overseeing and being involved in shady gas deals with Ukrainian companies on behalf of his son that he then pardons. And if you remember, in 2019, the entire narrative was Donald Trump is going to abuse the pardon system to protect his own family. Then we look at 2024, and Joe Biden literally creates a thing with a preemptive pardon to protect his own child, and the media goes, bravo, look at him for trying to make sure that his son is protected. Nobody's calling this out for the bullshit that it is, except for people like you who have been doing it for the past 4 years.
It's fun. And people reward you for it. The amazing thing about the internet is you can go back and see who was right and who's a fraud.
Yep.
Who's been lying to you.
And the receipts are there. What do you think? Okay, so July 13th could have been one of the darkest days in American history. We are millimeters away from an entire different future for this country had that bullet hit Trump in the head and not in the ear. What do you think, outside of the assassination attempt, was the biggest force in getting Trump reelected in 2024? Was it X? Was it his outreach to social media? Was it Laura Trump co-chairing the RNC and securing election integrity to the best of her abilities? What was the biggest decision factor in getting Trump reelected in 2024?
President Trump, I don't know enough about Dragon Ball Z or Pokemon or whatever to like know what it is, but he's able to absorb the energy, even like negative energy of the moment, and like capture it and then use it against his Arioken. Like he's able to Street Fighter. Okay, he's able to Street Fighter this energy back at him. Yo, this dude, this comedian, Kill Tony, is freaking hilarious. We were at Madison Square Garden. ALX and I were sitting front row at Madison Square Garden. And he killed. Kill Tony did a great job, all right? They turned it into this weapon against Trump. And what does he do? He shows up in a trash man outfit in a trash truck with the Trump sign on the side. He gives a whole speech.
And by the way, it was a brand new trash truck. Like, I don't know how he got that so quickly, but there was not any dirt on that trash truck. He was the first garbage man to use that trash truck.
Kamala Harris like, I am a working class. I work at McDonald's. Okay, lady. First off, we weren't doing DEI hires back then, so I don't think so. And then second, because I don't think you're qualified to do the fries. I really don't. And then secondarily, because those people are actually working. Those people are actually sophisticated, smart, good, hardworking, working class meritocracy people that work service industry. I was a waiter for a very long time. A lot of Americans work fast food. It's an honorable and dignified job. Kamala Harris lied off the backs of those people. She lied on their name. And then Donald Trump goes and gives true dignity to the working class by being a billionaire, rolling up his sleeves, getting salt and grease on his hands, and then serving people, being a servant leader. Christians saw that and said, that's my boy. Yep. People who are the working class saw that and said, that's my man in the trash truck. That's Trump, baby. Going on Joe Rogan is like a giant FU to the corporate press and a yes to the people who've been telling us the truth. People love the authenticity of that. Tucker Carlson, Theo Von, shows like this, obviously PBD, he also did this podcast. It's so freaking awesome that Donald Trump lent into like the authenticity and the realness of people. And it's the greatest miracle. And it's something that I want to ask God when I get to heaven, which is how did this billionaire, richest and most famous man in the world become the hero of the everyman and the working class? I don't know how it happened, but people feel like they know Trump because of it.
Well, and I love, go ahead, Brandon.
Oh no, just so to play devil's advocate, like you guys are saying, this is like a time of bliss and joy and it feels great, but I feel like it's just too quiet and I'm paranoid about something happening between now and Inauguration Day. I don't know. I'm trying to stay paranoid but also positive at the same time. What's your level of paranoia right now?
Oh, I think false flags abound.
Right.
What the hell's going on with the drones in New Jersey? Something dark, something bad. We're not that cucked as a nation. They're not going to let China fly hundreds of drones over our military bases. Something weird is going on there, and I'm suspicious about it. They're not going to hand over the keys like peacefully. No. You're right. So I don't want them. They want to start war with Russia. They want to start war with China. They want to start war with Iran. And I'm worried about what they're going to plan to do. They wanted Iran to, they effectively gave a red carpet for Iran to assassinate Trump. It's a matter of fact. The FBI straight up admits it, right?
Well, do you think that was Iran related or do you think that was a fake story?
It was definitely Ukraine. So Ryan Ruth is Ukraine related. Yep. And the FBI comes out and it's like, tap the sign. We know you have to say it. It's like a Bart Simpson thing. Like say the line, and let's all humiliate you. Yes, the gunman was on our radar. Yes, we knew the gunman. Says the FBI. Like, dude, such an absolute clown show of an organization. They knew the guy. They knew he shouldn't have a weapon, and they allowed it to happen. The guy nearly got a shot off at Trump. We just found out that the Secret Service shot at him. I know you know how to fire a firearm. The Secret Service shot at him, missed him 6 times. You're from 5 feet away.
Well, and then we talked to Officer Brandon Tatum earlier today, and he was talking about the The lack of correspondence between the local police and the Secret Service, and them knowing for 90 minutes on the July 13th shooting that there was a guy with a gun somewhere on the property, and they lost track of him. And so they did everything they could to character assassinate him, then actually assassinate him. They tried to jail him, and isn't it interesting that now, prior to November 5th, whenever anybody would voice any concerns about the weaponization of the Department of Justice, it was you're a conspiracy theorist. That's not happening. Then all of a sudden, after November 5th, the charges get dropped in certain states. Fannie Willis was just disqualified as the leading prosecutor over Trump in the Georgia case. It's like, wait, all the things that we said 6 months ago were bullshit. Now all of a sudden are proven to be bullshit. And it's like, well, yeah, sorry about that.
Conspiracy theorists are running up like a Tom Brady level score, like point. Like the conspiracy, it's just, the actual conspiracy theorists are the people in the corporate media pushing the lies, and the people they call conspiracy theorists, which I don't agree with that term. There's just unproved. They're just facts we haven't locked in yet. Skepticism is absolutely important to finding the truth. There's no such thing as a conspiracy theorist. There's just people who ask questions.
Brandon asked an important question. How paranoid are you? I'm going to piggyback off of that. What are the odds that you're giving it that something, it doesn't have to be as dramatic as that, but there's an attempt to not certify Trump on January 20th to make sure that that inauguration does not happen? Do you believe that there's any possibility that that could happen?
They've already said they're going to try.
Well, Jamie Raskin said that he wouldn't certify, but that's one guy. Do you believe that there's going to be a further attempt to try and disrupt? Because it seems like they're ignoring the will of the American people at this point.
Yeah.
Trump not only won the Electoral College, he won the popular vote. He won every swing state. This is not up for contestation. That you can't contest this like you could have in 2000 or like we tried to in 2020. There is no way to contest it. So the only way to stop it is to interrupt it. Do you see any plans of interruption outside of as drastic as a dirty bomb or some type of terrorist attack, maybe legislative or through Congress or through the Senate?
I'm very worried about that. I think that the actual sabotage is going to happen from within the machine, inside of the federal government and the entrenchment. Obviously, Elon and Vivek talk a lot about this, and this is going to be the biggest dragon to slay, is the machine that is being created right now by Joe Biden, minting a new deal with the union in charge of Social Security, right? Like he just made it work from home permanent. They're trying so hard to entrench themselves against the reforms that are happening. And so that's going to be something that obviously is going to be taking place in the courts. And we've had some great rulings, like the Chevron ruling, to say that so many of the regulations are illegal in this country. There shouldn't be such a thing as a public sector union that can organize and bargain against the taxpayers that fund them. That's insane. Right. It's literal Marxism. And so I hope that those things can change. I feel like that is, as it was in term one, the biggest problem. However, Trump is so much smarter with policy people now. He's so much smarter putting people in the chair. Kash Patel, he's putting in the chair, man. Kash Patel's going to go in there. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be biblical. The whole disease temple is coming down. And we're going to figure out, yo, Bill, why'd you fly on the plane 27 times? Your name is on there to Lolita Express to St. James. Why'd you go there? Ellen DeGeneres, why did you leave the country so quickly? We know you look like Eminem. We know you're different people. Maybe you're the same person. I'm not sure. But why didn't you just go? You went to England. Why didn't you just go to Little St. James?
It's wild.
Where you're comfortable.
And quickly on that, even Clinton now admits his connection with Epstein, but he even lies about that. He says that he only met Epstein twice, but then you look at the official records, and there's a 1993 photo of him with Ghislaine Maxwell in the White House, and they ignore that even exists. So it's like you partially admit to knowing the guy, but not completely. It's this weird, yes, we're going to give you a little bit of truth, but not enough. Do you believe with Kash Patel being in charge of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, he will declassify everything from the 9/11 files to the COVID files to, in fact, Jeffrey Epstein's client list and possibly P. Diddy's?
On our show, dozens of times, Kash Patel has said yes, and Donald Trump has said yes, and these men are not liars.
Yeah. So, oh, God.
Yeah, Brandon, you like talking over me. No, I'm joking. Hey, you made a joke about missing Joe Biden when he leaves office. All right, we're going to run out of content. My question is: do you think the independent news cycle is gonna, it's gonna get faster after Trump takes office? Because we're gonna have a lot of things to report, right?
Oof. Dude, even the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, missing a bullet, which technically he got a headshot, right? Technically Trump was shot in the head. That cycle was done by the time ABC News did a debate with Kamala Harris.
Oh, the lies.
They didn't even say, I'm sorry. Yo, how much you don't hate the corporate media enough. ABC News has Trump up on stage a month after he was shot in the head by a Democrat Joe Biden voter and supporter and donor, And they didn't even say sorry about that.
Listen,
Like they don't even have the courtesy to say sorry you were shot in the face.
No, and then they
Then
called for cooler temperatures, but then they went
Yeah.
right back to calling him a Nazi that's going to lock up his political opponents.
the first day, the first few hours, they blamed glass shards.
Yeah,
They
that's right.
couldn't even see a bullet. They were like, "Oh, some debris got it."
Chris
know?
Wright.
But could you imagine if you had denied any other shooting victim in history? Had you said any of those kids that were at Parkland weren't shot the way that they were shot? You cannot deny that Donald Trump was shot by a bullet, but then argue that these people were. You're null and voiding your argument when you're sitting here and you're taking away. Donald Trump is a gunshot survivor.
Yeah.
He is a victim, just like the kids at Stoneman Douglas Montgomery High School, or whatever it was called. These people are survivors, and yet they still go out and they name call, they try and lock up, they try and prosecute. Brandon, your question for Benny Johnson.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, out of all the cabinet picks, which one are you most excited about, and what do you think he's gonna do if they, give him a hard time and reject a lot of these picks? Because I think that's the biggest liability right now from like people in the Senate rejecting his picks.
Pam Bondi is the most important.
Yeah.
And a lot of people love Cash. We freaking love Cash. Pam is the most important at Justice.
She'll probably get by
Main-
pretty easily, right?
Maine Justice is unbelievably powerful. The State Department is unbelievably powerful.
Yeah.
And I know it's not popular to say Marco Rubio and Pam Bondi because
Yeah.
they're going to get 80 votes. They're going to get 80 or 90 votes in the Senate. It won't even be a fight with
Do you
the
like
two of
Rubio
those.
as Secretary of State?
Yeah, I'm a Florida resident. I think he's done a good job, in the state of Florida, and he's obviously warmed very much to Trump to the point that Trump puts him in charge of this, arguably the most important part of America's empire is the State Department.
I
Yeah,
think-
look at
right,
what
you
the
talk to
damage
Mike
Blinken's
Benz.
done.
Mike Benz has totally blackpilled me on what the State Department truly does and their power. And so this is a very important position. I'll say, obviously, that Kash Patel and the declassification is not only something that they promised, but necessary.
Yeah.
This is how you restore trust. And you just say, no, you're the American people. You're in charge here. You have a right to know what happened to JFK. You have a right to know what we know about UFOs or aliens. And you have a right to know what Diddy and Epstein were doing. Yeah.
Humberto, you had a question.
Oh no, that was a question. It's like like first of all, like every time I open my Twitter feed, you're the first guy to get to news. Like I want to know how you do it. Like every time I
That is
look
a
up
good
something,
question.
no, it is. Like
Yeah.
every time I look up something, like in our realm, like Benny Johnson. Like
Yeah, you're a
how do you
machine.
do it?
An enormous amount of caffeine, and I got hold of Hunter's Coke stash, right, that he left at the White House. Okay, so I sent my Roomba into the White House, and it grabbed up all the little baggies of Coke, right, that Hunter was leaving everywhere. That's not true.
It's
It's
a joke.
Which is
It's a
very
joke.
interesting.
a joke.
They
It's a
did-
White House Hunter Biden joke.
They did find cocaine in the White House, and if that
Bro.
had been under Trump that they found
it's
any
over.
type of illegal
Hold on,
substance,
hold on.
there'd be nonstop investigations.
Hold
into that.
up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. They found cocaine, and then they found DNA inside the cocaine. So the Secret Service has acknowledged that they found DNA on the cocaine, and then they destroyed it. So what does that tell you?
Well, you don't destroy evidence if you're trying to actually investigate the
So they
crime.
know whose it was.
Yes.
Right.
Question for you. This is a selfish question. I believe that you have had or spoke with Ashton Forbes in the past. Am I mistaken in that? Regarding MH370, the missing flight.
I'm looking over here at ALX.
Have you guys
we?
done content before with him or no?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right.
I don't
'cause
think so.
That was a jealous question.
I'm very interested, but
Because,
like,
because in the age of these weird drones over New Jersey,
Yeah.
and I saw that you had tweeted the mysterious orb. It's so crazy that technology
around the plane,
Yes,
like the stuff around the plane.
yes,
yeah,
but
all
no,
of that.
even this, the one that ABC News caught just a few days ago of that mysterious globe that was up in the sky and rotating. It's very odd that this day and age where we have more technological advancements than ever before, we know even less about outer space and what's going on in the skies above us than we did when we didn't have the invention of the cell phone, when we didn't have drones to go investigate. How do we not know less about what's going on above us when my phone, I could zoom in and I could film from the back of the, like I did it last night. PBD was on stage and I was all the way in the back and I was able to zoom all the way into my phone and I could see every pore on his face from the back of the convention center. How are we not figuring out what's going on in the skies above us, especially when you see these mysterious orbs just doing these weird gyrations that physics can't explain?
The Chinese spy balloon
That
was
was
not
a bad
told.
thing.
Was not our government did not tell us about the Chinese spy balloon. When you're covering news, you remember these things. It was some homie with a telephoto lens in Wyoming. Who's like, what the hell is that? That ain't Jupiter, right? And he sees it and then he posts it on the internet and he's like, what is this?
Yeah.
This is why we're on X all day.
Well,
you
and
know,
they
it's like some dude had to say, "What is this?" And then everyone started paying attention. Our government knew it was there, and they lied to us. And it's the prima facie example of what your government thinks of you. They think we're stupid. They think we're plebs. They think we're orcs. They think all of us are just like knuckle dragging retards and can't like think for ourselves. And eventually you just have to assume they hate you, right? And that's what I think is changing, quite frankly, because we have a president that actually doesn't hate us and did everything in this campaign to say, I'm connected to you and I care about the things that you care about. And I'm going to like roll up my sleeves and give you the fries.
Well,
right?
and then on the left, they decided to just bring out what has not worked time and time again, these celebrity $1 million endorsements. So when you're trying to fight,
that's right.
Lizzo,
dude,
and I know the body, and she is the model of body positivity in the United
But
States
she's
of America. It's crazy.
getting out.
The
She's
same
coming
party that's
around.
sitting here yelling about RFK being crazy and has a worm in his brain is the same party that celebrated Lizzo as body positivity and how you should embrace. But that is literally damaging to these young girls that, hey, you should be able to look like this. No, that's
going on with
unhealthy.
What was going on with that? Like it was a total atomization of celebrity culture, and so awesome.
No, and
it's incredible the time.
But when you're trying to battle this narrative that you're the
Taylor
party,
Swift didn't matter. Yo, Taylor Swift didn't
crazy.
matter, and polling shows that Taylor Swift hurt Kamala.
but they were the party of elites, and we called them out for being that. And rather than actually trying to combat that narrative, they doubled down on the narrative of being the party of elites by having people like Beyonce come out, by spending $300,000 to redo the set of Call Her Daddy.
I know.
And then it had the lowest views of any Call Her Daddy episode. You look at it and you go, Donald Trump went to the American people. Donald Trump proved to the American people he is one of them. Whereas Kamala continued to hide from the American people and then she wanted the American people to come to her, and they just did not.
They managed to kill Obama. This is like his last election that he's gonna talk. Like he tried to get the voters. He went out there, but he doesn't have the same power that he had like 4 or 5 years ago. You know,
It looks like a different person when he speaks.
I know.
We have just a few minutes left, Benny. So January 20th is right around the corner.
Yes.
January 19th is when ByteDance has to divest their interest in TikTok. Otherwise, they will be banned in the United States. One of the things that Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk have been so effective at is reaching the young voters. And on one of those platforms that they reach those young voters on is TikTok. For you, are you in favor of a TikTok ban coming to the United States? And if not, why?
So I am not. I'm not in favor of a ban, meaning you can't use the platform anymore. A lot of people like the platform, and a lot of young people, that's how they get their news and information. And Charlie's obviously like a master at it. He's done so well.
Said over a
right?
billion views in the 2024
It's
election
true.
cycle, which you have to imagine had an impact on changing the minds of some of those users.
Which is very impressive because he's a boomer at heart, right? And so for him to be able to adopt that platform is really impressive. And what his team has done with that and the content and the debate content it's incredible. And there's a lot of kids that would be totally or uninformed if they were to get rid of TikTok. Am I in favor of it being sold to an American company? 100%. Yeah, I am. Because I don't like communist China. Yeah.
One final question for you, and we'll wrap up. By the way,
I don't like commies. You know,
crazy you for not liking commies.
I don't like commies, but it's great because communism is it's a dying breed. It's not self-perpetuating. Okay, you ever met a communist? You ever met like a communist?
Yeah, I have.
They're stinky. They don't shower. They're ugly. They have yellow teeth. Okay, to match their yellow hearts, and they're like nobody wants to breed with these people. Okay, nobody wants to have sex with these people. They can't have kids. Most of them are eunuchs. Okay, cut their balls off, and it's like great because actually, like, it's the destruction of their own worldview. The amazing part about wokeness is that actually wokeness, Marxism, it kind of all blends together. Is that it actually is self-defeating.
Yeah.
It actually atomizes and it destroys itself.
It breeds
and
them
it's
out.
kind of awesome. It's why I push family. Why I push family so much is because that's like a superpower that we have to be able to procreate and live a happy life.
The final question I have for you, by the way, Benny Johnson joining us, the Benny Johnson Show, weekdays at 11 a.m. Go and watch, subscribe, like, follow, all of that. Benny, the new narrative right now is to divide and conquer from the left. You're watching it with the President Elon Musk and Vice President Donald J. Trump narrative that the media is trying to push. They're trying to divide the two of them. Do you think they will be successful in their endeavors? And if not, why?
Because he's first buddy, dude. He's first buddy, man. Elon loves it. Elon's like having the time of his life. Yeah. Okay. So take a step back. What does Elon do? You know, Elon like takes over companies or creates his own companies and then runs profitable companies that change the world. What is the American government? It's a $7 trillion company that's $35 trillion in debt.
Continues to lose money year in and
It's the biggest
year
challenge
out.
of his life.
Overstaffed.
It's the biggest corporation in American history. It's the #1 employer in human history, and it's a huge challenge for this dude. And he's like ready. He's ready to do it. He's like ready to let it rip. And Trump freaking loves that alpha energy of Elon Musk.
So it's two alphas working together.
You never see them. You always see Trump and Elon Musk man-spreading. Okay, they brought man-spreading back. You always see them. None of them sit like Justin Trudeau. A real man can't sit like Emmanuel Macron. They can't. It's physically not possible. They have too many microplastics in their balls, or none at all, and they can sit like that. They sit like Russian ballerinas. I don't understand how a man can do it. Tim Walz sits like that, you know. Justin Trudeau and Tim Walz got the fancy hands and the fancy leg kicks and stuff. I don't understand it. Trump and Elon are like bros. They're bringing back alpha masculinity, man-spreading mullets and mustaches.
Well, I really appreciate it, Benny. You were part of the reason why, and I really believe this in the sphere of influence.
So ridiculous.
It's people like you that
Top
helped.
source.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you guys have
top
spread the
source.
message and wake
So
America
ridiculous.
up to get people to understand that their votes still actually mattered and that they needed to get to the polls and cast their vote to make a difference, and they did. And now we have a resurgence in America like we haven't had since the 80s. Benny Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for the awesome Benny Johnson for joining us here on the Unusual Suspects podcast. Go watch him weekdays at 11 a.m. Benny, thank you so much for joining us.
So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.